see friggin' Olive Thomas. And if she's appearing to everybody else, I'm the ghost guy. I felt she should appear to me. So I called up Dana and I said, can you please ask Disney if I could stay overnight at the New Am? And he said, sure, absolutely. So I was all ready to go. And then he called me that day and he said, Disney thinks that there's a liability involved in your staying over, so we're going to have to say no. And I'm like, oh, well, now you saw I could go. What do I get for acceding to this? He said, I'm going to set you up with the house carpenter who sees her all the time. So I went backstage and I met this guy about this big, overalls, big bushy beard. He says he sees Olive all the time. He's not the only one. A lot of people encounter her. But he said, the place that you see Olive is in the trap. I mentioned the trap earlier, where she would make her entrance. Right now, what used to be the stage of the New Amsterdam roof is now Tom Schumacher's office. Tom Schumacher runs Disney Theatricals. He's the boss there. And they've turned that into offices because those roof theaters are no longer considered safe by the fire department in New York. So a lot of them have been converted to other uses. But the trap underneath his office is still there. They use it for storage. He's the carpenter. They put lumber in there. They put old pieces of props, old pieces of scenery, things that they don't need anymore. And, oh, perfect. One of the things that we saw when we were down there was a disembodied door frame. Like, you see the frame on this door? This is metal. This is probably plasterboard. This is metal. There are flanges that stick out from the other. This thing, if you took this out, weigh about 800 pounds. One of them was leaning up against the wall in this trap space. So I came down there and I was like, so what do we do? What do we have to do to make her appear? And he said, well, you know, she's kind of like a cat. She comes when she wants to. And I'm like, oh. He said, well, you could call her. So I said, Olive Thomas. Olive, are you there? Are you there? And then I remembered that conversation I had with Doris Eaton Travis, where she did not like being called by her first name. So I said, Mrs. Pickford? And when I said Mrs. Pickford, that 800-pound door frame lifted up a tiny bit and came down with a crash. Now, I didn't immediately say to myself, I've seen the ghost or I've experienced the ghost. I thought, oh, what a funny coincidence that just at that moment this noise happened. And so we laughed, but he was like, well, you know, that might have been her. That's the sort of thing she does. I said, she's a little slip of a gal. How could she live? He's like, she's Olive Thomas. This is her theater. She can do whatever she wants here. And I said, well, let's try it again. I said, Mrs. Pickford, are you there? And this thing, it went like this. It went boom, 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 boom. Well, I have to tell you, there's a word for making your hair stand, a theatrical word for making your hair stand on end. I've looked it up. It's horripilation. I experienced horripilation. I would love to say that she came out and she was dressed in green and said, hello, fella, but she didn't. That was all there was to it. I could make something up, like Lynn Ahrens offered to do, but in fact, that's what happened. So that is the closest I've come to an actual ghost experience, and I want more.